Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Q1 FY23 earnings conference call of Subex Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and then 0 on your touchtone telephone. Please note this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. G.V. Krishnakant. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone who have joined the earnings call for the quarter ended June 30th, 2022. Now I would like to introduce the members of the management who are present for the call. Along with me, I have Mr. Vinod Kumar, Managing Director and CEO, and Mr. Sumit Agarwal, Chief Financial Officer of the company. I would like to start the conference by going through the safe harbor clause. Certain statements in this call concerning our future growth prospects are forward-looking statements, which involve a number of risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from those in such forward-looking statements. The risks and uncertainties relating to these statements, including but not limited to fluctuations in earnings, our ability to successfully integrate acquisitions, competition in our area of business, client concentration, liability for damages in our contracts, withdrawal of tax incentives, political instability, unauthorized use of intellectual property, and other general economic conditions affecting our industry. So with this, I now hand over this call to Mr. Vinod Kumar to take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishnakant. Good afternoon, everyone. I thank you all for joining the call. As you would have seen from the Q1 results published, the revenue for the quarter stood at rupees 83.3 crores. The PAT is rupees 5.5 crores. We have clarified in the notes that during the quarter ended in June 30th, an amount of rupees 8.66 crores was provided on a conservative basis as doubtful debt towards receivable from one of our customers. So even though we are provided, we are confident that we will recover the above amount. So while the EBITDA is rupees 7 million, the normalized EBITDA, if you consider this one-time provision, will be rupees 9.4 crores. That will be about 11.4%. The cash and cash equivalent at the end of the quarter stood at around 100 crores. So overall, the quarter has gone in line with our expectation. We had also completed the restructuring of moving the assets from Subex Assurance LLP to Subex Limited, and the effect of this change has happened in this quarter. In the last call, we covered the recognition that we have got around Hypersense AI from industry experts and analysts like Gartner. We are seeing various enterprises slowly understanding the value of multi-persona AI/ML platforms. Let me explain the problem that we are solving with Hypersense AI. Just about every enterprise understands the need to embrace AI/ML, that is artificial intelligence and machine learning, for a variety of reasons. And all CXOs want their enterprise to be artificial intelligence, AI/ML oriented. However, the reality is that only about 15% of the AI models built ever get into production. So if you look at it in the first place, there are very few team members who can do AI/ML. And on top of that, 85% of all these team generates never get into production. This is the current global scenario. In some sectors like telcos, the situation is even worse. There are three main reasons for this particular situation. One, the data science or doing using AI to generate results, business results, it is difficult and time consuming. The second reason is that data scientists are hard to find. And the third is that there is a trust gap between the business and the data science team. Now, all these three issues are solved by this new category of solutions called multi-persona AI/ML platforms. First of all, such platforms make data science AI or AI/ML easier. Secondly, due to the no-code drag and drop functionalities, such platforms enables normal people with minimum training to do data science. We call such people citizen data scientists. Thirdly, a lot of focus is going into explaining the AI results, which helps in better collaboration between data science and the business teams. As you can appreciate, the only pragmatic approach to build an AI enterprise is to adopt a multi-personal AI/ML platform. Enterprises are realizing it and slowly adopting it. Subex multi-personal AI/ML platform is called HyperSense AI. We are arguably the only such provider with a specific focus on telcos. Now, we are in various stages of engagement with telcos around HyperSense AI. There are two areas that we are focusing when it comes to telcos. One is their own internal use. That is how you can leverage HyperSense AI to solve telcos' need for AI and ML. Another important aspect is that with 5G, almost all mainstream telcos are building a portfolio of digital services that they can offer to enterprises. AI services will be a very important part of that offering. AI will be integral for monetizing 5G technology, and therefore every telco who is building an enterprise portfolio will need to have a platform around which they can build these AI services. As I had alluded earlier, Subex with its HyperSense AI is probably, at this point in time, the only provider of a multi-personal AI/ML platform to telcos. So our recent announcement with Geo Platform is also around this, where we would be supporting Geo Platform to create an AI offering underpinning our platform. We have set up the training and support capabilities to back and scale such engagements with large strategic partners. Now, coming to our core business around fraud, RA, and partner settlement, we are doing reasonably well. The upgrade cycles are slowly starting on the back of 5G technology rollout and related upgradations. As we have been communicating, we are slowly moving our customers to our HyperSense-based platform whenever there is an upgrade opportunity. If you look at our overall activities, we are putting all efforts around our core to build a solid business around AI with strategic partnerships and enablement. We are in the early cycle of adoption, but it will get adopted, and we are well positioned as and when the market opens, particularly in the enterprise segments with widespread adoption of AI platforms. On Sectrio and ID Central, our focus is on adding more customers. Coming to ID Central, there have been a reduction in the AI pulls, particularly from our crypto-based customers, but we expect this to change as we onboard more customers in the mid-tier segment in the quarters to come. Further, we have also onboarded the first telco customers for ID Central in Africa. Now, this is a very interesting use case where many regulators are stipulating specific criteria for onboarding customers digitally, and we are seeing this growing trend starting from Africa. So this is, again, a segment which we are focused with our ID Central portfolio. Now, the ROC-based, which was our earlier platform-based deliveries, are coming to an end, and from Q2, most of the deliveries will be on HyperSense platform. So we will see a shift to subscription-based revenue starting Q2. So just to summarize, the focus continues to be on building the new areas with the right kind of partnerships. This is our future, and we will make it work for all stakeholders. Your continued support means a lot to us, and I also thank for the same. Thank you very much, and we will now open up for questions.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, please press star and 1 on your telephone keypad and wait for your turn to ask the question. If you would like to withdraw your request, you may do so by pressing star and 1 again. Participants are kindly requested to ask 2 questions in the initial round and may join the queue for more questions. We will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question comes from Pratap Maliwal from Mount Infra Finance. Please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me, please?
Yes, Pratap.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, sir. I have a question regarding the recent news that we had regarding our tie-up with the Jio platforms. So could you just help us understand what is the nature of the tie-up and what is the monetization schedule? When can we maybe expect revenues to start flowing in, and what is the nature of the tie-up and how the revenues will actually flow to us and when they'll start, please?
Okay. So as I had indicated, most of the telcos are looking at creating a portfolio of services around AI, particularly to monetize 5G, because 5G along with the connectivity, 5G will create a lot of new opportunities for such telcos in the enterprise segment. Now, we have got this engagement with Jio, whereby we will be supporting them in the AI service, in the creation of AI services. So just to take an example, Jio would carry a plethora of services around connectivity, analytics, security, etc. And the Jio services around AI, we would be a platform which will be supporting that. Now, this is something which we have similar discussions going with several telcos around the world, and we hope that we will have many such announcements for several markets announced in the quarters to come. Now, with respect to the monetization, we have already clarified that Hypersense AI is a subscription-based pricing based on the consumption of the platform. So when Jio starts offering this to their customers based on the consumption, we will have a revenue share agreement between Jio and Subex. Now, Jio, we are expecting, I think the specific timelines we are yet to determine, but as soon as Jio starts offering some of these services, and when our platform gets used by their customers, we will start seeing the revenue coming from this engagement.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Another question I had was, in our disclosure, we've seen that there's been a provision made of rupees 86.6 million doubtful debt from one of the receivables, as you pointed out, sir. So I just wanted to ask, what has actually caused this? Is it maybe in which geography was the client? And I just wanted to understand that if it's 86.6 million, then this seems to be around almost 10% of our revenue. So would it be maybe fair to assume that it's perhaps a tier 1 telco or a major client of ours? And maybe what actually led to this eventuality? Could you please clarify?
Okay. So this is, as I clarified, it's a provision that we have made on a conservative basis. We are quite confident that we have resolved this matter. The reason for this is there are several reasons came together. One was the forex issue that was faced by this particular customer. And the geography where the customer operates. That was one. There was some change of the management, and because of some of these challenges, we had some delays on the deliveries as well. So overall, I think all these things resulted in a delay in receiving the collections from this customer. And as a part of our corporate governance, we have a particular process whereby if it delays over a particular period in time, we will take a provision on this. So I just want to reiterate that we are reasonably confident that we will get this collections done, but it is taking time. And as a part of the corporate governance, we felt that it is better for us to make this provisioning. So it's just a one-time activity, and it is from one of the customers in the larger Middle East region.
Okay, so can we maybe expect the entire amount to be reflected in the next quarter itself, or would there be maybe a phased recovery of this amount?
We're expecting it to be a phased recovery, but some part of it would definitely come in the next quarter. Yeah.
Okay, sir. And another question I had was regarding that we had a recent call out of a deal win for fraud management on Hypersense. I believe the figures were 3.5 million for over 5 years. So just so we understand, how does the revenues actually start flowing? Have we booked any portion of the revenues in the current numbers? Are they reflected? And secondly, how the revenue model changes versus if this was a previous ROC-based deployment versus the current deployment, how the revenue actually model changes? Could you please help us understand?
Yeah. So this is Hypersense, and therefore it is going to be a subscription basis. So earlier, if you are a ROC-based deployment, this whole the bulk of the $3.5 million would have been recognized within the 12 to 18 months time frame. Now that has got changed, and this will get now recognized over a period of 5 years. Now, so because it's a subscription based rather than a license and implementation, so that's a major change that happened. But the most important thing is that with this particular thing, we have the Hypersense already deployed, and once we start, once the customer, this is primarily around the Hypersense fraud management side of things, but once the platform is done, we will work with the customers to move other use cases outside the fraud management onto these platforms, which will come with a different commercials, because the platform can be used for a plethora of use cases, and that is exactly what we are trying to do with most of our customers. So while from a recognition of revenue perspective, from a 12 to 18 months, this will get spread to 5 years, but the opportunity is that unlike the earlier platform, this allows us to move more and more use cases on top of this platform, which will come with additional subscription outside this 3.5 million that we have found.
Okay, so, and have the revenue started flowing in?
It will start flowing in. No, it will start flowing once we complete the deployment. We have started the deployment, and then it will sometime during the next quarter. Some part of it will get commissioned, and then the revenue will start kicking.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'll get back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you, Pratap.
The next question comes from Deepesh Sancheti from Manya Finance. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, hi. Am I audible?
Yes, Deepesh, go ahead.
Yeah. My first question is actually for the Geo platforms only. I think it has been already answered. Now, wanted to just understand, our revenues from Indian market is around 2%. We are having Airtel, Vodafone, Geo now. So practically the entire telecom market, Indian telecom market, as our customers. So going ahead, what revenue share are we looking from the Indian market?
Look, I think as you can, if you look at kind of our core business, which is primarily aimed at the telcos at this point in time, so far our opportunity exists when there is an upgrade cycle. That is when we upgrade our existing installations to support the new, let's say, technology, or when we have a new product and we have a new sale to the telcos. That's what our revenue stream is, other than the normal annuity-based support revenues. So now with Hypersense, this changes, and we do have that ability to, on a constant basis, provide new services to our customers. So I think while for the near term, I would say that the percentage of revenue will be around on our core areas. But as we start, taking the solutions to the enterprise segment through our telco partners, we will see that changing by and by. So this is for our core. But our new areas of ID Central and Sectrio, the focus is predominantly the Indian market, or that is probably one of the two markets that we are focused on. So as those revenues grow up, we will see a larger portion of the overall revenue coming from the Indian contribution. So to summarize, overall, in the short term, we will see that percentage of revenue will be around that, but it will start growing as the enterprise business and the new product business starts growing for Subex.
So as I understand, as new technology like 5G, blockchain will develop in India, that is the time Subex will actually kickstart with getting more revenues from them.
As a percentage.
Is that summarization okay? Okay.
Yes, as a percentage, because we are seeing the same opportunities elsewhere also, but as a percentage, because of the new areas, as I said, the Sectrio and ID Central, we are only focused on India. So once that starts revenue starts generating revenue, then the overall revenue from India will start increasing as a percentage.
And when do you expect that to actually kickstart?
Look, I think with this, for this year, we see that it will be there about in the 3 to 5% range. But as we start, significantly scaling the Sectrio and the ID Center revenue, that will change. That will be towards next year onwards.
Next year. And if you can just throw in some numbers, like as investors, we really want a few numbers to come out that what is the expectation of how much revenue are we expecting? Nothing binding, but point is, if there is a revenue guidance which can be expected from these telcos, then it will be easier for us to judge how our investments should go.
Dipesh, I understand where you're coming from, but we are not giving any specific guidance, Dipesh. So I think what we can provide you is the fact that this is definitely this multi-person AI platform is a growing segment, really growing segment, very, very fast growing segment, early days of adoption. And this is not just with telcos only, right? This is going to be adopted across every enterprises. And telco will be a provider of such services to every enterprises. So we are aligned with telcos and other major players who are going to be a provider in this space of AI thing. It's a huge market. So I think as you would slowly see, we will start announcing this strategic partnerships in various markets, and we are aligned with large partners which will have a much higher reach, and that's our focus. So I wouldn't want to provide a specific guidance at this point in time, but I just want to paint the picture of where we are taking Dipesh.
Okay. And also we've seen the Sectrio customers. We have even SBI. So are we looking at tapping at other banks, Indian banks especially?
Yes. And Sectrio, we are only focused on 3 markets at this point in time: India, Saudi Arabia, and UAE and Saudi Arabia and Mexico. These are the only 3 markets that we are focused at this point in time. And India is a very, very key market. Based on some of the key wins that we had both in the government and the enterprise segment, we have increased the reach out, and we are started seeing the RFPs coming out based on the work that we have done in the last few quarters. And as we go along, we will start announcing the customers that we are winning. We are expecting, as I mentioned in my briefing, the current effort in both Sectrio and ID Central is to add customers so that we can establish as a key player when it comes to OT, IoT security in this and identity analytics in these markets.
Yeah, my last question actually is a hypothetical one. Just the last one. Generally, it is seen that Jio takes a stake into all its technology providers. It has been seen throughout Jio's journey. Is there any talk? Is there any possibility going ahead? Since we just removed our promoters from the promoter list. Is there any possibility ahead?
Look, at this point in time, we are in the early days of building these partnerships on and ensuring that from a portfolio standpoint, we are providing the right support to it. So at this point in time, there's nothing. Our focus is to take these AI services jointly to the market and make a big success out of it, Dipesh.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir. participants are kindly requested to ask 2 questions in the initial round and may join the queue for more questions. Thank you. We have the next question from Jagtab, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Jagtab, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. See, we have observed in last 8 quarters that before every quarter result, Subex is announcing some partnership, but it is not updating investor in subsequent quarters what is the revenue generated from such partnership. Last year we have announced Snowflake partnership. So what is the revenue generated from Snowflake partnership in last 1 year that is never updated in subsequent quarters? What is the reason for that? See, all these new announcements just before the quarterly results divert attention in the investor call into new areas where you don't have numbers. So what is the reason for doing all these things? That is the first question. Second question is, there is a reduction of 15%. That means 18 crore rupees from cash and cash equivalent in last 3 months. What is the reason for this large reduction in the cash and cash equivalent? These are the 2 questions.
Sure. So first on the partnership, I don't think that at this point in time we are providing the breakups of revenues from individual customers or individual partnerships. The idea of these partnerships is not just from an investor standpoint alone. These partnerships are announced from a market, from a trade perspective as well, because we want to announce this partnership so that it helps us to go and build a portfolio together and take it to the customer. So this is something which we are, in this particular case, both Jio and Subex decided to announce this partnership because we wanted to.
I'm not talking about Jio because Jio you will not have a number today. I'm asking about Snowflake, which is announced last year.
Right. So I think all these partnerships are announced so that we can initiate the go-to-market activities, and that is what the partnerships. And the timing of that is based on when we conclude the partnerships, and it's got nothing to do with any other matter. So that's point number 1. And we do not providing any customer or partner-specific revenue contributions. And at this point in time, at least, we don't have any plan to provide that. Whatever we are providing at this point in time is the region-specific and overall, the product-specific details is what we are focused on. Coming back to the cash reserve part of it, I think one of we did have some spend that was going on in the capex side of these things because we have initiated we have expanded the new offices, and also there's a bit of a timing issue on some of the collections coming into moving from June to the July time frame. So those are the reasons why there's a short movement of the and there's some collections have moved from June to July time frame. So those are the reasons why there have been a reduction of almost close to about 18 crores when it comes to the cash equivalent. But those things will come back as we get into this quarter.
But are you going to update next quarter that whatever money is drawn from the cash and cash equivalent is returned back to the cash and cash equivalent?
We will provide the details of what is the cash equivalent at the end of the next quarter, and that's something which we are reporting as a normal thing in our investor deck. So that will get reported, and that should give you the view of how things are.
Do you mean to say that there is no revenue from Snowflake in last 1 year?
Sorry, can you come again?
Do you mean to say that there is no revenue from Snowflake partnership in last 1 year?
We have leveraged that partnership, and not only with that, all the partnerships that we are leveraging to significantly progress Hypersense. And the Hypersense success we have today, we already have 7 customers already in Hypersense. And we are leveraging our cloud and other partners significantly to make progress on this matter. At this point in time, while we have announced a few things based on the go-to-market strategy, we are also working with several other hyperscalers to ensure that we have very tight relationship with most of them. And as you will see going forward, we will start announcing the other ones also. So Hypersense, these partnerships are the primary G2 go-to-market avenues for us to take Hypersense to the market. So most of the revenues that we are getting from Hypersense are are related to the common efforts between our effort and some of these partnership efforts checked out.
No, that is the same thing I'm asking. Is there any revenue from Snowflake, yes or no?
I would not, as I already clarified, we will not be providing any specific information on any partnerships or any customer-related things, which is not, we are unable to provide those details because of the confidentialities that we are signed with customers and partners.
We are not asking customer. We are asking whether revenue is generated from partnership or not.
No, that's what I'm clarifying. We would not be able to provide because of the confidentiality that we have signed with these partners as well, or the specifics of this relationship.
So these 83 crore, whatever revenue is there, what percentage is from old business and what percentage is from new business?
If you talk about the new business, if you are talking about the ID Central and the Sectrio part of it, we generated close to about $250,000 from these two lines of business. From $250,000 will translate to $250,000. I mean, that's what 250K is what we generated. 250K USD is what we generated from these two product lines in the quarter one.
So it is less than 4%.
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you, sir. The next question comes from Amit Mishra, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi. Hello, Vinod.
Hi.
Am I audible?
Yes, Amit, go ahead.
Yeah. Congrats on showing growth in the quarter, in seasonally weaker quarter. So good performance there. But bottom line is still we need to see like how we get, because margins gone down quite a bit. I have just a few questions are already answered. I have just a specific question. Geo platform partnership which you announced recently. Our PR says that JPL will offer its cloud native 5G core to telcos globally along with Subex HyperSense. So I want to see how it will be operationalized, because JPL being a subsidiary of Reliance itself is a telco. Won't there be conflict of interest with other telco clients when you take JPL JV with Subex HyperSense? While dealing with 5G, it consists of sensitive data and everything. So I want to see like what's the plan, what's the roadmap for this? Is it just a specific telcos or it's open to other enterprises? What sort? So
okay. Look, I think it's a geo platform strategy question that you're asking of. Maybe I will not be the right person to answer that, but on the question in general, we have cases I can point to.
Vinod, sorry, just let me read again. This is from the PR, so I want to be very clear.
No. So I'm clarifying.
I just read from the PR. It says that JPL will offer its cloud native 5G core to telcos globally.
Sure.
So I just want to specifically understand that.
Yeah. So if you look at globally, the trend has been set by a company called Rakuten. It's called Rakuten Communication Platform, which is an operator in Japan. And Rakuten have had wins across the board for their platform. So I think things are getting more and more opened up, and people are looking at leveraging some of these platforms and the cloud native nature of such platforms to both reduce their operational cost and have quicker go to market. Now, so therefore, I think our focus, while we are supporting our customers similar to Geo in ensuring that when it comes to AI, we're providing a robust platform with all the enablement so that they can create whatever it is required as the right service offering, both for their potential telco customers and also for the enterprise customers. So that's where our focus is. And our focus, as I told you, that our focus is a lot of enablements. Like today, we have enabled in some telcos, we are enabled more than the entire technology team on our platforms where they are able to generate use cases without any support from Subex using our platforms. So that is precisely where we are going, and this is where I think our focus will be.
I understand, but I see conflict of interest. JPL being, a subsidiary of Reliance with other telcos. Okay, I understand the solutions can be taken to other enterprises outside telco ecosystem. Okay, so that answers. And second question is on ID Central. I saw you provided some number on the presentation, and I saw ARR of 46K in this quarter. So it has been like 5-6 quarters, and I think the ramp up has been very slow. So I want to hear like future roadmap there, like what sort of expectations you have, not guidance per se, but what sort of expectation. And are there like it's very competitive in India and where the market we're operating in, and some bits on Sectio because there is not update except the clients on Sectio. These are two focus areas, new focus areas. So we want to hear more on this, please.
Yeah. So let me start with ID Central. On the ID Central, as I mentioned, some of our we did have a dip in the number of API calls that we had in this quarter on account of the low activity from the crypto customers. But by and large, from an MRR and ARR standpoint, I guess that is getting bridged because we have started also onboarding telco customers where the ARR is significantly higher. If you recall, our MRR used to be something like, an average used to be $850 to $1,000 per month, but from a telco customers, we are talking about upwards of 10,000. So therefore, that is a nice segment, and we have had the first success. We have gone in production in one of the customer, and we have a lot in the pipeline in a similar one. So it is competitive, and I guess where we are focused is on to ensure that we are able to provide at the right cost a much higher accuracy so that we can swap the customers from their existing providers to our customers. We started with smaller tier customers. We are getting into the mid-tier customers as we see, and it will stabilize, and we will. Our intent is to get into to a kind of 100K MRR is our near-term objective. And with the telco addition, that is, we still hope to get to our internal timelines that we have kept for ourselves for getting the 100K MRR. With respect to the Sectrio, as I told you,
just very quickly, why I asked competition in ID Central is because recently L&T Infotech, they partnered with Savint to deliver intelligent identity solution. So I think other players are also like existing competition is there, and there are new players coming in with specific partnerships. So if we like ours has been a bit slow, I would say. I understand we have made progress, but are we losing the grip in the market because like we have to scale up quickly, but and everyone to push.
Look, I think it's a very large market, so I guess there will be a lot more new players coming in. We are taking the right steps, and our directionally what we are looking at is to, as we said, that we are looking at getting the account aggregator, getting into the account aggregator side, and try to eventually we want to leverage the telecom data to solve the identity analytics and take it to the next level. That's directly where they are going, but I think it works because those setups are being done, and we are in the approval process to get the working done with TRAI and others to ensure that we are there when that approval happens, so that we can bring in the telecom data to solve the identity issues for the country. So that is a big change that when will happen, because we understand that data very well, and we were well positioned to take advantage of that. Till that time, we are improving our technology, and We are building our APIs. I mean, some players have been there for a much longer time, so they're much more API with different databases. So we are on an ongoing basis building the APIs which need to be prioritized for our existing set of customers. And with the telco edition is where I think we will have a different telco customer edition. We will have internally we will get to wherever we want. That's not to say that there will not be competition. Very intense market, but with the telco advantage, telco data advantage, we think that we will have a good say and we will be able to compete on that. Now, if I could, Amit, if I could move to the question on the sector side, I think we are in the process of building the large RFPs in the country. As I said, we have some RFPs which have come in Q1, and the decisions will happen in Q2, and we will see that we will have some interesting additions as customers as we get into Q2 from the Indian customer segment, because those are things that the RFPs will get concluded in the course of next year. So we are definitely leveraging the initial wins we have. And also significantly leveraging the Make in India angle, particularly when it comes to infrastructure, providing security solutions to the infrastructure segment. So things are going well, and as I told you, by Q2 we'll have some interesting additions as customer base.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question comes from Chirag Kachadia from Ashika Institutional Equities. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. I have a couple of basic questions. Like, what exactly our role in the client ecosystem in telecom related capex and the other offering which we do to the client in various industries?
Okay, so in the telecom segment, we work broad, a lot of customers are in the range of revenue management, where we talk about fraud management, revenue leakage prevention, and partner billing. So these are the three core solutions that we have. Recently, we introduced the whole analytics platform, which is AI/ML platform, which we are talking about Hypersense AI. That is something which is the growth area that we have identified for us. And at this point in time, we are in various POCs. And again, the announcements that we have on the partnership with Jio Platform was around that area. So this is what we do on the telco segment, on the core segments. On the new areas, we have two areas. One is security, where we are working on the OT and IoT security area. And identity analytics, we are looking at solving the basic identity issues when it comes to digital customers and digital customer onboarding, like eKYC, starting with eKYC, transaction monitoring, and things like that. These are our current set of products. The larger umbrella, all these products can be put together in the larger umbrella of digital trust. So that's the space that we work in, digital trust, but some of the products I have already listed, some of the specific product areas that we focus.
And sir, the reason to change this promoter category to public, you can guide why is this chosen?
So the promoters moved, the original promoters moved out way back in 2012, and then post that, there were some technical reasons why they had very little to do with the company after that time frame, and there were some technical reasons why this could not be done till now. So it is pretty much that angle. So the original promoters that have been, not connected with the business from quite almost a decade, they have not been connected with the business. So it's just some technical reasons why we couldn't remove them till now, and that has been cleared now, and therefore we are removing them into a public category.
Okay. And sir, I want to know, like, your order book mechanism. What is the percentages of annuity and what is less than 12-month order which we do with client? The bifurcation I want to know.
So the annuity at this point in time will be almost 65 to 70% of our total business will be annuity-based business. But interestingly, we are changing into a subscription model. So I guess that from a license to a subscription model. So subscription in a way is a kind of a repetitive business. So if you look at managed services and the annuity will get it's replaced by the subscription business. So we are going through a transformation from a license and support, subsequent support to a subscription-based model where in a year's time, most of our revenues will be a subscription-based revenue, which will be a ARR-based revenue. The second question I did not fully understand, but if your question is that is our contracts below 12 months, most of our contracts that we sign with customer on an average will be around 3 years, but in some cases it will be as long as 5 years. In some cases it will be also sign up 2-year deals. So on an average, it's what we sign is a 3-year deal with customers.
So who are the other players who do similar job like we provide to clients? I mean, peer point of view.
We don't have any competitor in the country. We have different competitors when you go to the individual product lines. We do have a company called Mobilium who competes within the revenue management side of things. When it comes to Hyperscale AI, there are many players who are, Gartner has listed recently about 15 to 20 players who are in the multi-personal AI ML platforms. But as I alluded earlier, we are the only one with a telco focus at this point in time. When it comes to Sectrio, OT IoT, there are about 3-4 large players, and again, none in the country. Identity analytics, we have a lot of players locally as well. There are about 3-4 players which are playing in the identity analytics side. So across the board, we can't talk about a single competitor that we have, but in different product categories, we have different competitors.
Chirag, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Can you please join the queue for more questions? I'm really sorry.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, sir. The next question comes from Mahesh Kumar, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon. I have a question related to total contracted backlog and backlog for 12 months. If you see last quarter, March quarter and this quarter, there is a decline and there is no growth in the total contracted backlog. So what is the reason for that? And second one, every quarter you are telling performance is as per expectations, but we don't know what is your expectation. Unless we know expectation, we will not come to know what is expectation. And every investor call, you are giving a very rosy narrative about the products and services, but it is not backed up by the numbers. What is the reason for that? See, if this thing happens continuously for 8-10 quarters, the trust on the management will diminish. So how you are going to address this issue?
Yeah. So Mahesh, I think the first point is that all the 3 areas that we've identified are new areas, which are high growth segment, but it's not an existing well established area. This is brand new areas, right? So it takes time for both for the market to be established and thereafter establish in that market as a leader thing. So if you look at the OT IoT security, of course, we started with IoT security. It did have some impact because the COVID, because the IoT projects got delayed. We pivoted to OT security, which is evolving as a very important subject kind of thing. Identity analytics is again with the digital onboarding. It is a growing area, and AI ML platform is a growing area. So while I appreciate from where you are coming, saying that when will these new products start giving contributing a sizable revenue to it, we are confident, Mahesh, that as we go along, these things will play out as we are expecting. And coming to the point of last couple of quarters, my narrative has been that financial results have not been in line with our expectation. This quarter it is different. This is what we are expecting, and also please bear in mind that we are going through that transition of the license to a subscription model, where it is getting the contracts are getting executed from a revenue standpoint over much longer duration than earlier. So multiple transitions are happening at this point in time. So I presume that once we get into a steady state when it comes to the subscription revenue, then probably it will be a better position for us to provide you at least some sort of expectation, saying that a quarter-on-quarter growth we are expecting is so much. So all these transitions is what is affecting at this point in time. But I think what we are very, very clear is based on the POCs and the partner and the interest that we are getting from strategic partners. Directionally, we are in the right track, and we are logged on to some of the high growth areas in the future. So that's the way I would want to respond to that. But I understand from where you are coming, and hopefully I think we have started providing more details into some of the new areas like ID Central. We are providing with a number of customers, the MRRs, we are listing the MRRs, and also we have started the 18 pools. We'll start similarly for some of the new areas, which will give you the confidence of how some of the progress that we are making in these new areas, Mahesh.
When you are going to reach this steady state, what you mentioned just now?
We've just started, like in the high percents, we have just started, we have secured now 7 customers we have started deploying. And as I told you, by the end of this quarter, most of our rock-based deployments are coming to an end. So most of the new deployments going forward will be on high percent. So probably by the next 2 quarters, we will get to a stage where most of our revenues will be subscription-based revenues, and thereafter we should be able to get a view that, okay, now most of the revenues or bulk of the revenues are subscription-based revenues, and then you'll slowly see the growth from there.
I will still request you should give some expectations or guidance. It may be pessimistic. Nobody is going to punish you for that, but we are not able to judge how the company is performing. If you see the IoT, if you see the Sectrio, we don't have any new logo added in the last quarter.
Yeah. So we have not added any new logo because I think, as I told you, we are working on the RFPs, and you'll see the addition happening in next quarter. So we have not had any new logos added in Sectrio for quarter 1, and our expectation is that we will have some very, very important logos added in quarter 2, and that's what we have started doing. So that transparency is there, that we are providing which are the customers who have added, and probably very soon we will start providing the details from the revenue standpoint also for some of these new areas. So the next will be the Hypersense AI, that at some point in time we will start reporting the number of users that we have on Hypersense AI. That's another key area. Our vision is to have 100,000 users for Hypersense AI by 2024. But we'll see how we explore that. So far things have happened, things have started well, but a lot more work needs to be done, Mahesh, on that front.
So please give some guidance. It may be pessimistic. We are not able to judge performance. Please consider that, because without that it is very difficult to analyze the company and to take a decision whether to remain invested or exit the company.
Okay, I hear you. We'll come back to you, Mahesh.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question comes from Hemal Kapasi, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Sir. Sir, I just wanted to know that in the last our investor presentation, you had mentioned that in Sectrio we have started deploying for SBI. So, and there were 5,000, I think, installations to be done in the initial stage. And then we were expecting that if everything goes okay, then we might install another around 3 lakhs. So, what is the status of that deal?
Oh, so we have, there are 2 sites. One site has gone into production. Obviously, we can't provide more details of that. So one site has gone into production, and the other site we are expecting. There are 2 sites that we are deploying. The other site we expect it to go into production during the course of this quarter, and thereafter we will start expanding into other areas, please.
So we are the only company for which they are taking demo, or there are other players also for whom SBI is doing the same exercise?
Oh, these are not demo. These are real commercial deployments. So it's not demo that we are talking about. We are deploying, and it's getting into production. And for this particular range, we are the only provider.
Okay. And have we got any key queries from them, or they are going ahead with our products?
Yeah, so I think it's not that it's not that a demo or a proof of concept. It's a contract that we have got for deployment across the entire thing. As I said, we have got one site has gone into production. There is another site that we are taking the production during the course of this quarter, and subsequent to that we will roll out to the existing thing. So it's not it's a demo or something. We have got the contract for the full rollout.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question comes from Ashish, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Basically, just want to understand as to where's the company's policy of switching from annuity or a contract to a subscription-based model, and at the same time launching new products, which is basically creating problems and not able to manage both things together. That is one which we want to know. And also, within telcos, are we
Ashish, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Can you please come to a noise-free area and answer the question?
Just one second. What I mean to say is,
louder, please.
there is a problem which I feel is companies facing in terms of launching new products as well as moving on to a subscription-based model, which is creating problem on revenue generation. So is that true? And also, within the telcos, are we concentrated majorly on only Asian and African telcos, and we do not have any major big players of US, Europe, and Japan and China? Thanks.
Okay. So first question, I think it is not a problem. It is a phase that one need to go through when you are moving from a license to a subscription model, and when a lumpy revenue gets distributed over the years, and that we are going through that same process. So it's not a problem. It's a process that one needs to go to, and directionally, I think it's a right decision to move into a subscription model, as most of the world is moving into, and therefore we have embraced on that. So we have, from a timing perspective, I think the timing is right when the telco segment is also moving into that area. With respect to our customer base, we do business in over 100 countries, and most of the, if you look at the top 75% of 75 telcos, out of the top 100, 75 telcos, the top 75 will be our customers. So we do have customers across the board in AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, BT, Telefonica. Most of the large brands in Europe and US will be our customers. We do not operate in the market of China, Japan, and Korea because of language challenges and things like that. Those are the markets that we have not entered into. But the wider Europe, North America, and and Middle East and Africa and APAC are our strong regions. We have customers. Most of the large telcos are our customers for one or other range of products.
What is our market share in developed market?
So in our market share in the developed market, I think if you look at, we are doing very well in, if you look at our market share, of the total revenue, I would say that Europe, Middle East and Africa would be the majority, followed by America and Asia Pac, and then will be India. So most of our customers are in Europe, Middle East and Africa.
No, my point is, sir, excuse me. My point is developed market size. Out of that, where do we stand? How much is our share in that market?
Okay, all right. Okay, so if you look at the mainstream players, between us, we have about 30-35% of the market, and in the developed markets, I would say that probably in North America, I would reckon that we would have maybe about let's say I'm talking about the mainstream players. We would be about, let's say 40-60, 40 by us and 60 to our other competitor. And the Europe will be, I would say slightly more, maybe again 65-35 because they are based out of that region. So that's how I would put the market share between the two top competitors in these two markets.
So does that mean that all IT providers in telecom sectors are facing the same problem what you are facing in terms of revenue?
Look, I think we are a product company. We are not a services company. So I think that there is that dynamics there. So the product companies we look at, we are one of the product companies from this part of the world who has got a very good market share, global market share, and a global presence. A product company, a telecom product company from the country. We have got a reasonable coverage across North America and Europe when compared with any other provider from this part of the world.
And switching from license to subscription model, and that should stabilize. It would take another 2 years more.
We will take 2 years to convert all our existing customers into that model. But as I said, all new implementations that we are having is on our 100% subscription model. So you will see that starting Q3 onwards, most of our revenue, the bulk of our revenue, new revenues will be on subscription model. So that's not to say that every customer of ours will be converted. We have about 250 installations, so it's not possible for us to upgrade everybody into subscription model. It will take time, but most of our revenues will move into subscription model starting Q3.
Starting from?
Starting Q2, Q3. This quarter is where most of our old platform-based implementations are coming to an end.
So, if I say, sir, that 1 year license fee gets distributed for how many years in subscription days?
Well, it's not a straight calculation like that, but you could argue. I mean, I gave the example of this one contract where we just announced for $3.5 million. And $3.5 million, we would have recognized bulk of it over 12 to 18 months time. That is getting spread over 5 years. So that's the impact that we are talking about.
So basically, a revenue stream of 2 years is getting distributed in 5 years or 6
More
years.
Or less, yeah. More or less. On an average, you could say that, yeah.
So unless and until more number of clients and more deals are cracked, to increase the revenue numbers in next 2 to 3 quarters.
Yes, but we also have the ability to move more additional use cases on top of this platform, right? So the platform, we are moving into this model not because of our existing. With this new Hypersense, we have now the ability to reach many other parts of the organization which we could not do yet with the earlier platform. So while it is true that if you talk about fraud management or revenue assurance, the 1 year or the 18 months revenue is getting spread into 5 years. But this also gives us the opportunity for us to get more use cases on top of this platform, which was not the case earlier. So today we are talking about the CMO, CTO, many other parts of the organization to bring other use cases on top of the platform. And based on the compute of the platform, we will start generating additional revenue from an existing customers, which was not the case earlier.
And so I had asked couple of conference call back about each categories of product which we are venturing into, the new products. You had talked about the market size, but about the possible world competition, because we are into the international market. So who are the major competitors to us in this products, new products? You had said that you will share after a couple of quarters, but that has not come in.
Look, I think we are providing
we need to know as to whom are we pitted against.
Right. Okay. Look, I think we are providing the individual product categories in the investor deck. I think with respect to I request you to kindly, if you can just share this with the investor relationship, we will provide you the category-wise competition, please. So in the investor deck, we have provided the product categories that we are working. Of course, the competition is not something that is covered, but if you can just send a note to our investor relationship, we will provide you that information, please.
Because I suppose, sir, that would give a very fair picture, clear picture as to where do we stand and what are our chances of gaining more market share.
Sure, of course. Yeah, you can. I mean, if it is helpful for you, kindly send a note to investorrelations@subex.com and we will provide you the clarification on that. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for your time, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next question comes from Ramesh Pillai, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hey, hi. Just two questions. One is specifically around the updates provided for ID Central. So over there, the revenue, I mean, it reflects $0. So the query is it more of a POC around the last year which was provided? And second, the API pulls, we see a drastic reduction of 4 million to 1.6. So did we lose any customers? These are the two checks.
Okay, so I think I clarified multiple times on the API pull thing. So the API pull came down on account of, we were catering to several crypto customers, and there was a reduction in the activity from our crypto customers, and therefore the API pull came down. I think with respect to the revenue, I think we are talking about the revenue, or revenue is listed quarter-wise, so it's not that it's zero revenue. And so it is the first chart in the investor, that slide provides the details of the revenue. So we have most of the customers are, I mean, all the customers listed are revenue-based customers, so commercial engagements that we have.
Okay, maybe then it's a typo because it reflects $0. One last suggestion, can we have in the investor deck everything streamlined, as in USD and INR is getting used interchangeably. So can we keep it normalized? I mean, just a suggestion.
Sure. We will normalize it to one currency. Just on that revenue, it is 000. It is say that the numbers indicated are in thousands. So that's how it is mentioned.
Understood. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that would be the last question for the day. I now like to hand over the floor to the management for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. We thank you all for taking time for attending this call and your continued interest in Subex. You can always reach out to us at investorrelations@subex.com if you need any further clarifications. Thank you. Stay safe and take care.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your conference call for today. Thank you for your participation and for using DoSabha's conference call service. You may all disconnect your lines now. Thank you and have a